Executive Order 13672. Further amendments to Executive Order 11478, Equal Employment Opportunity in the Federal Government, and Executive Order 11246, Equal Employment Opportunity. This is the law, okay? So this is still the law. By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including 40 U.S.C. 121, in order to provide for a uniform policy for the federal government to prohibit discrimination and take further steps to promote economy and efficiency in federal government procurement by prohibiting discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. It is hereby ordered as follows. So, that law is still in place. You cannot discriminate in the workplace. It's against the law. Happy World Back Up Your Data Day. Today, you need to back up your data. And happy Transfer Day. The Virgin Islands went from Denmark to the United States. Happy Freedom Day. Malta, an island in the Mediterranean Sea, celebrates their freedom every March 31st to celebrate their overthrow of the British. Can you relate, America? And happy International Transgender Day. So this is Transgender Awareness Day. It's an international day, so happy International Transgender Day. Also, happy Cesar Chavez Day. So there's a bunch of reasons to celebrate today. And there's more. In fact, the first black man in America voted on this day. 15th Amendment was passed, and then you had Tom Monday, who voted. 3 days ago, March 27th, 2017, Trump went ahead and issued another executive order. But this executive order actually undoes two other executive orders and another section of a different executive order. The executive order that it wipes out is the Executive Order 13673. Looks like 13,673. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say. These executive orders, which I don't even know how much stock you should even put in an executive order, but this was signed into law or signed by Obama in 2014. It's called the Fair Pay and Safe Workplace Act. Fair Pay and Safe Workplace Act. It made discrimination illegal, and even though it's against the law, what they've taken is the teeth away. There's no way to force anybody to not discriminate in the workplace. So it's against the law. You can't do it. And if you do, what will happen? Nothing. So, it's kind of like, I got this friend, and he's racist, and I always tell him, hey, stop being racist. And he doesn't listen. So ultimately, it seems like if you want to get compliance, right, you want them to not discriminate, then you have to have some teeth. You got to have some strength behind, you got to do this or else, like how important is it? And he's my friend. I was down and out, so he, helped me here and there. It just, he's a racist. What the fuck? First Transgender Day was back in 2009. This is actually being observed by activists across the world, including in Ireland and in Scotland. The black man who voted was Thomas Monday Peterson. There is some question with his name. I've heard Thomas Monday. I've also heard Thomas H. Peterson, so I don't even know where the Monday is coming from. But he's the first black man to vote in an election under the just enacted provisions of the 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Abraham Lincoln, full of Civil War. Now, black people are people, and he can vote. He can vote. And the 15th Amendment was an amendment. So you actually had to have 3/4 of the states and had to agree to it. And this was with Andrew Johnson, who was trying to, never mind. Scratch that. Presidential executive order on the revocation of federal contracting executive orders. This is Donald Trump. revocation of federal contracting executive orders by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America. It is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, revocation, Executive Order 13673 of July 31st, 2014, Section 3 of Executive Order 13683 of December 11th, 2014, and Executive Order 13738 of August 23rd, 2016 are revoked. That's the order. That's the order. That's what this entire video is going to be about. Except for actually, I'm only talking about the one executive order, the Fair Pay and Safe Workplace. I haven't been paying attention too much, but apparently Donald Trump has been signing executive orders like he's on cocaine. So here's just a couple of things at Fox News, right? This is his propaganda piece. These are the ones that they pointed out. So far, 2017, March 31st, 100 days? Here are the executive orders that Donald Trump has signed into law. An executive order establishing the President's Commission on Combating Drug Addiction and the Opioid Crisis. An order initiating a review of the Clean Power Plan, which restricted greenhouse gas emissions at coal-fired power plants. An order revoking Obama-era executive orders on federal contracting. That's the one we're talking about right now. An order directing a top... J.P. Morgan died today in 1913, so he would have been 104 years old. Oh, J.P. Morgan's death date in 1991, March 31st, the Georgians, the country of Georgia, had an independence referendum, and nearly 99% of the country supported the country's independence away from the Soviet Union. So Georgia became its own country, right? That's why John McCain was all pissed off about them, a couple of years ago. In 1998, Netscape releases Mozilla source code under an open source license. So that would be Firefox, Mozilla Firefox, the browser. And they said it's under an open source license, so that's good. You can read the license or you can read the code and you can improve it on your own, just for the hell of it, just to help people out. So I'm not for sure exactly what characterizes the Fair Pay and Safe Workplaces bill. When I read it, it seems like they're just saying they should respect labor laws. They should comply with not discriminating against anybody. And it just seems like they're just saying that there's already these laws on the books and there's state laws too. But this was to, create an enforcement, a way to enforce it. So somebody had to file a bunch of paperwork saying they're complying with the Fair Labor Standards Act and Occupational Safety and Health Act and Migrant and Seasonal Agricultural Worker Protection Act, and these 14 federal laws. They had to say that they've, documentation that they've been complying with every one of them. And then an order directing a top-to-bottom audit of the executive branch. So he's checking the Obama administration. A revised order suspending the refugee program and entry to the U.S. for travelers from several mostly Muslim countries in response to objections from courts. As before, the order will suspend refugee entries for 120 days, but doesn't suspend Syrian refugees indefinitely and no longer includes Iraq in the named countries. And signing this order, the original one was revoked. An order moving the HBCU, historically black colleges and universities, offices back from the Department of Education to the White House. An order requiring every agency to establish a regulatory reform task force to evaluate regulations and recommend rules for repeal or modification. 3 orders establishing 3 Department of Justice task forces to fight. So they needed to have a report of the violations of the 14 federal laws. So some sort of file, right? Something that they're documenting it and they're making sure that all these federal laws are being passed. They also said that the employees needed to be provided with pay stubs every payday. and it prohibited companies with federal contracts of $1 million or more from requiring their employees to enter into pre-dispute arbitration agreements for disputes arising out of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act or from torts related to sexual assault or harassment. So apparently some companies are saying you could work for us, but you can't ever file any sexual harassment lawsuits or Title VII, whatever Title VII is about. Orders establishing 3 Department of Justice task forces to fight drug cartels, reduce violent crime, and reduce attacks against police. An order directing the Treasury Secretary to review the 2010 Dodd-Frank financial regulatory law, a memorandum instructing the Labor Department to delay implementing an Obama rule requiring financial professionals who are giving advice on retirement who charge commissions to put their clients' interest first. An order instructing agencies that whenever they introduce a regulation, they must first abolish 2 others. That's so arbitrary and stupid. If you're going to, say don't put poison in the well, well, you better tell me 2 regulations that you think we should allow. I don't want poison in the well, but I guess you could allow some, I don't know, trash or stuff. 1st, 2006, the Occupy movement, known as the Nuit Debout, begins in France. So France's version of the Occupy movement begins this day last year. And then it spread within days to Belgium, Germany, and Spain. So, what are we to do? But seriously, is it Mike Pence and that other guy, Mike Pence with his face and his little hair, and then the Jeff Sessions, Beauregard, Confederate Jefferson Davis, Jeff Sessions? They're a bunch of fags. They're absolute fags. The biggest queers out here are the homophobes. They are turned on by gay porn more than anybody else out here. A little bit of the language of the Executive Order 13673, Labor Compliance Advisors, Section 3. Each agency shall designate a senior agency official to be a labor compliance advisor who shall, A, meet quarterly with the Deputy Secretary, Deputy Administrator, or equivalent agency official with regard to matters covered by this order. B, work with the acquisition workforce, agency officials, and agency contractors to promote greater awareness and understanding of labor law requirements, including record-keeping, reporting, and notice requirements, as well as best practices for obtaining compliance with these requirements. C, coordinate assistance for agency contractors seeking help in addressing and preventing labor violations. These are good. This is good for labor, right? Fair pay and safe. Memorandum to restructure the National Security Council and the Homeland Security Council. A memorandum. What's a memorandum? I mean, when I was looking through this list, you got executive orders, and then you have memorandums, and then you have other things such as proclamations. So what's the difference between a memorandum and a proclamation? One's a memo. Hey, just whisper. I'm just going to whisper this to you, American people. I got a little memo for you. Or proclamation. Hey, it's going to be the law because I say so, and I'm a dictator, and this is how the country we run. Then there's presidential notices. Hey, I'm giving you a notice. You're on notice. So there's notices, proclamations, memoranda, and executive orders. And according to Wikipedia, there's been 19 executive orders. So not all these are executive orders, what I'm reading. Memorandum directing the Secretary of Defense to draw up a plan within 30 days to defeat ISIS in order to lengthen the ban on administration officials working as lobbyists. There is now a 5-year ban on officials becoming lobbyists after they leave government, and a lifetime ban on White House officials lobbying on behalf of a foreign government. An executive order imposing 120-day suspension of the refugee program, 90-day ban on travel to the U.S. from citizens of 7 terror hotspots: Iraq, Iran, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Somalia, Sudan. I feel like they haven't updated these list of bullet points. 2 multi-pronged orders on border security and immigration enforcement, including the authorization of the U.S.-Mexico border wall, the stripping of federal grant money to sanctuary cities, hiring 5,000 more Border Patrol agents, ending catch and release policies for illegal immigrants, and reinstating local and state immigration enforcement partnerships. A memorandum called for a 30-day review of military readiness. Donald Trump rescinded the Fair Pay and Safe Workplaces order, right? It's an executive order, so he's just writing laws at the top. Apparently, Congress doesn't write laws anymore. Donald Trump just writes all these laws. But he rescinded the Fair Pay and Safe Workplaces order. So he doesn't want fair pay, doesn't want safe workplaces. It's known as Executive Order 13673. Now, this isn't the, don't discriminate law. The don't discriminate executive order was 13672. President Obama issued in 2014, 13672, don't discriminate in the workplace. So that's, the law is still in the books. There's just no teeth. There's just no, basically we got a bouncer without any arms. And this administration is inviting businesses to the table that violate equal pay and fair wage laws, ignore laws. A memorandum called for a 30-day review of military readiness. 2 orders reviving the Keystone XL pipeline and Dakota Access pipelines. He also signed 3 other related orders that would expedite the environmental permitting process for infrastructure projects relating to the pipelines, direct the Commerce Department to streamline the manufacturing permitting process, and give the Commerce Department 180 days to maximize the use of U.S. steel in the pipeline in order to reinstate the so-called Mexico City policy, a ban on federal funds to international groups that perform abortions or lobby to legalize or promote abortion. The policy was instituted in 1984 by President Reagan, but has gone into and out of effect depending on the party in power in the White House. And notice on the U.S. will begin withdrawing from the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. The only fucking good thing this piece of shit's done. Ignore laws requiring family medical leave or target employees for discrimination based on race, sex, gender identity, gender non-conformity, including being gay or lesbian, disability, including having HIV, and numerous other grounds. So this has opened the floodgates for they could do as the fuck as they please. And this is really sad because it wasn't just a month or 2 ago that the Trump administration came out and said, no, you don't have to worry about the compliance order. The compliance order is going to stay right in place. So no need to worry. And the reason why the LGBTQ community are worried about this was because there is a religious freedom bill, the executive order that's floating around. Trump might sign a religious freedom bill, just like India imposing a hiring freeze for some federal government workers as a way to shrink the size of government. This excludes the military, as Trump noted at the signing. An order that directs federal agencies to ease the regulatory burdens of Obamacare, orders agencies to waive, defer, grant exemptions from, or delay the implementation of any provision or requirement of Obamacare that imposes a fiscal burden on the state or a cost, fee, tax penalty, or regulatory burden on individuals, families, health care providers, health insurers, that's the important people right there, patients, recipients of health care services, purchasers of health insurance, or makers of medical devices, products, or medications. So, that's a handful of them, right? That's not all of them, and it was kind of out of order and wasn't updated. There's enhancing public safety in the interior of the United States, ethics commitments by executive branch appointees, enforcing federal law with respect. How much freedom is this bill going to give to religion? Well, a draft copy was obtained by The Nation. It says that religious organizations are any organization that, including closely held for-profit corporations. So corporations can be a religious organization, right? So corporations can find protection under religion now, right? Since they're people and they have all these individual human rights. And they provide social services, education, any group that's religious that provides social service, education, health care. If you earn a living, seek a job, employing others, receives government grants or contracts, or participates in the marketplace, the public square, or interface with the federal, state, or local governments. So this is all religion, has all the freedom in the world. And what they say is they want religious or moral. Donald Trump just recently had signed another one the 28th. So after this federal contracts executive order, he signed another one. Had to do with China or energy or something. I don't know. But what the fuck is going on, America? Okay, are we all being briefed on all these laws? And is he able to? When you read it, it says, you know, as prescribed by the Constitution. So these aren't laws. Congress passes laws. These are suggestions until Congress figures their shit out, right? So, and then how are they fucking signing like 1,000, like 7,000, 8,000 executive orders? What the fuck? Why are there so many executive orders being signed? I mean, he's just making laws up off the top of his head. These are suggestions. He's trying to coat the public perception, but I cannot believe that every single one of these laws or these executive orders are. We want religious or moral objections to matter when it comes to same-sex marriage, premarital sex, abortion, trans identity, and it seeks to curtail women's access to contraception and abortion through the Affordable Care Act. You see why atheists have to organize? The religious are getting in there, and this is a Christian Sharia law. And so this is insane. If the Amish came in and said, you know, it's against our conscience to issue driver's license because of the technology, we're going to accept that shit. Or if, you know, there's an Islamic person or somebody who is sexist, I guess it could be a Christian too, who thinks that women's place is to be in the home and to be submissive and therefore they can't drive, so we can't have, you know, bigots, sexual bigots giving out driver's license. We can't have the Amish giving out driver's license because they'll be protected with religious freedom. For the sake of argument, let's say we got a fucking dictator on our hands, and this is clearly the rise of fascism, right? You have a lot of alarming executive orders that I just mentioned, but this is the rise of fascism. We're witnessing the rise of fascism. 80%, I said that in the beginning when Donald Trump first got elected, I was like 80%, that's 80% chance that he's going to be 80% shitty and 20% good. He's 99% shitty. And everything that I've just read and watched, and this is crap. This is crap. He's not doing universal health care. He's doing this right-wing shit. He's just, you know, and then with regards to the federal contracts, you can't discriminate against the workplace, but you can't comply. You can't revoke a contract if they were discriminated in the workplace. So that makes people have to sue, you know, on their own. And that's, you know, not everybody has a lawyer to be able to do that. So ultimately, what this means, this opens a Pandora's box of, you know, bullshit. It opens the floodgates for something really bad. And so not just the LGBTQ community should be worried, everybody should be worried. The religious freedom law, why'd you kill that man? Well, he believed in a different God than me. Oh, okay. Well, it was done in the name of religion. You go on. It's okay. That's insane. That's fucking crazy. So they've, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, you know, so you got this religious freedom bill that is circulating, and people are worried about it, but Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump behind the scenes was able to get this pushed, and they're able to get it pushed that Trump administration was going to protect the compliance part, the teeth part, give the bouncer his arms back. So if the bouncer has his arms back, now there's no way to enforce it except through peer pressure. Hey, you better not do that. Don't you dare do that. And, you know, so this is given a sort of, you know, go ahead, pass go, sort of a get out of a jail free card for discrimination. And what's up with these fake progressives? These fake progressives are looking around and they're like, yeah, but Hillary and Russia and all this other shit. The Democratic Party is imploding, okay? So the Republicans are running shit right now. The Democrats need to get their shit together, be principled, you know, have principled opposition, like Bernie Sanders with the Medicare for all. That's the only solution that we have. But it's like they're going to keep doing the same shit. No, you got to change. You got to do something different because what you were doing before, that's the kind of man that I would want to be. If I see you picking on somebody, you know, that's gay or just somebody that's just being different, I want to intervene and tell you, you know, to knock it the fuck off. What Trump did was basically, it was like that one commercial where he's talking about it being a security monitor. He's not a security guard. He was just a security monitor. So he watches this bank robbery, and he just was like, oh, there's a bank robbery. He monitored the situation, and he let the bank robber get away. But with this executive order, with Trump's executive order, allowing discrimination in the workplace because he's cutting out the compliance part, there's no security, there's no monitor, there's nobody. There's nobody there at all. Just a law saying it's bad to, they pass a law with no way to enforce it. It's just a suggestion. It's like having a pit bull guarding your house, only it has no teeth and no limbs, and it's just a torso. What the fuck is a torso going to do to anybody? It's not protecting anything. It's not protecting shit. And that's with the pit bull there, right? I don't even know if they have people even looking at this stuff anymore. So, here's another example. If a man's breaking into your house and he's going to go fuck your wife, right? I don't know. I don't know if it's rape or not. I don't know if she invited him, but let's just stick with that. But it's like, hey, you better not come in. You better not break my house and fuck my wife. You better not do it. And then the guy is like, well, what are you going to do about it? And he's like, well, probably nothing. I was just hoping that, me telling you not to do it was good enough. So here's how. So this comes on the tail end of the 2020 census. The 2020 census isn't going to ask about your sexual orientation now, which is a blow to gay people, saying that gay people aren't people, gay people won't be counted. And when you find out, 1 out of 10 people are gay, so when you find out that you got a large constituency of gay folks, well, politicians tend to hear that. Those are voters. And then the other thing is not just knowing about their constituency, but they're also knowing about their conditions. Are gay folks doing better or worse than everybody else? I hear there's a lot of gay folks who are in poverty. So this would be important information. Gathering information would be important, but since they're not going to put the gay option on the U.S. Census in 2020, then essentially they are deleting the people from the U.S. Census. No more gays. This reminds me of the Johnson Amendment. You have this bunch of religious groups that are all pissed off at the Johnson Amendment. This is Lyndon Baines Johnson. But essentially the churches are breaking the law and they're videotaping themselves. They're not supposed to, something about nonprofit status. They can't be involved in politics. But there's no enforcement. There's no way to actually enforce the Johnson Amendment. It's just, highly suggestive. It's embedded in our culture. You're not supposed to do it. But a lot of these religious groups are videotaping themselves saying political stuff and then sending that video to, the IRS, daring them like, hey, I just broke the law. I used political speech in this, and I'm a 5014C3, nonprofit. What the fuck are you going to do about it? And the IRS has done nothing. They've done nothing about it. So, they called the IRS's bluff, and they have no way. The Executive Order 13672, the one that says that you cannot discriminate against gay and transgender people, is still a law on the books. It's still a law on the books, and it only applies to companies that make over $500,000. So anybody who has a federal contract over $500,000. So that's very, small niche of people. But this does protect millions of LGBT, Q people. LGBTQs. What's kind of crazy is that this law actually had a long history. You had President Johnson who signed it, and then you had Nixon who added discrimination based on disability and age. President Clinton added sexual orientation, and then Obama added sexual. All this is even more sad considering that today, March 31st, is International Transgender Day, International Transgender Awareness Day. That's today, March 31st. Every year for the rest of our lives, okay? So if you go into a workplace and you're just like, hey, don't be homophobic, mister, there's going to be racists and there's going to be homophobic people. They just need to keep that shit to themselves. You can have your own private opinions, but if you're going around, discrimination, I just think that that's against the American way, right? Everybody should be based upon their merits and their skills, not based upon some outward appearance, based on some dumb, random, arbitrary bullshit. You're wearing a weird hat, so, I don't want you to work here because you wear that stupid, green Make America Great hat. So get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. So this, this has a long history. Obama in 2014 added sexual identity. President Johnson prohibited federal contractors from discriminating based on race, color, religion, sex, or age. And then Nixon had said added age and disability. And then Clinton said, so this has got a long history. And then, but that's, history is never a reason just to do something. But look at the 14 laws. So the 14 laws that the federal, the group was going to monitor and enforce compliance was Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Rehabilitation Act, and the Family and Medical Leave Act, in addition to more. So it's not just that, the ADA and Rehabilitation Act prohibit discrimination based on HIV and infection and other disabilities. Family and Medical Leave Act wants the insurance that a lot of the gay folks want their partner to get their insurance. So even if an employee lived in a state that did not recognize marriage of the same-sex couple under the Obama's Department of Labor, they were going to get employees, they were going to cover the spouses of gay folks. So, this was to stop discrimination. I don't think the LGBT community are overreacting. I think they're reacting exactly right because Donald Trump had said that he was going to protect this. He was going to protect that law, and then that compliance order. You got this religious freedom bill that's, executive order that's floating around. So expect that any day. But ultimately, there's no enforcement mechanism. So, if you take the teeth out of a pit bull or if you take the arms off a bouncer, so these religious organizations don't want to be coerced. They don't want their will to be bent or broken into violating their conscience. Oh, they wanted to hate gay people. Now everybody's being so mean to them. They're the ones being discriminated against. I guess it is discrimination to hate a hater, but that's justice. To hate a hater you're hating. Okay, I hate you. But ultimately, if there's a person that wants to take the arms off of your bouncer and they want to take the teeth off of your pit bull, they mean to do you harm. They want to be able to be rude and disrespectful and maybe even criminal to you without your ability to do anything about it. So the Trump administration should do something about the compliance with the transgendered and gay law. They should not be discriminated against. And if he doesn't, which I don't think he will, all I really want to say is they don't really care about us. And then what about that internet bill? What the fuck with internet privacy? What the fuck? How do these bills get passed? How are the American people duped so consistently? Who in the fuck was writing their congressman and said, you know what we really need, Congressman Stevens? You know what I really need? I want the government to see what kind of underwear, I'm wearing. See what size my underwear is. Make sure Comcast, Xfinity, Sprint, whoever, what other internet companies are out there, make sure they can take all my data, take all my information, sell it out to the public. Oh, yes. It's American freedom, right? And they can look at my sewage, too. They can pick things out of my sewer